The suspect accused of shooting 6 police officers surrendered just after midnight.
Shooting in Philadelphia's Strawberry Mansion section leaves 6 people shot, 2 of them dead.
Those 5 shooting victims today come after 11 people were shot over the weekend. That includes 4 people all shot at once in Carroll Park near Washington Boulevard.
Philly, a city rich in history and culture, is also home to a variety of neighborhoods, each with its own unique character. While some areas are thriving, others face significant challenges. In this overview, we'll explore the 10 neighborhoods in Philly that are known for their difficulties. These areas like Tioga-Nicetown, Hunting Park, and Strawberry Mansion have their own stories. They are places where people live, work, and try to make the best of their situations despite facing issues like crime, economic hardship, and changing communities. Philly, one of America's oldest and most historically significant cities, has a rich and complex history that includes the migration of Black people to America, as well as the history of poverty within the city. Philadelphia was founded in 1682 by William Penn as a place for religious freedom. It played a crucial part in the early history of the United States, hosting the First and Second Continental Congress and the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and the Constitution in 1787. The history of Black people in Philadelphia and America as a whole is intertwined with the history of slavery. Enslaved Africans were brought to America as part of the transatlantic slave trade. Philadelphia, as a major port city, was involved in this trade in the early years, although Pennsylvania was also one of the first states to start the gradual abolition of slavery in 1780. The city became a significant center for free Black people and was an important stop on the Underground Railroad. The Great Migration, which occurred during the early 20th century, saw a significant movement of African Americans from the rural South to the urban North, including Philadelphia, in search of better economic opportunities and to escape the Jim Crow laws of the South. This migration significantly shaped the cultural and social fabric of the city. However, Philadelphia, like many major cities, had a long history with poverty. The post-industrial era, particularly from the late 20th century onwards, saw a decline in manufacturing jobs, which had been a major source of employment. This decline, coupled with other socio-economic factors, led to increased unemployment and poverty in certain areas of the city. The struggle with poverty has been a significant issue affecting various aspects of life in these communities, including access to quality education, healthcare, and housing. Despite the challenges, Philadelphia is a city known for its resilience and cultural richness. It is home to many historical landmarks, vibrant neighborhoods, and a diverse population. The city's history from its founding to present day reflects the broader story of America, with its triumphs and struggles, including the fight for civil rights.
With 3 weeks until the start of Temple's fall semester, safety is top of mind.
During the day, I feel pretty safe. At night, though, I try to stay on campus.
Just off campus early on Sunday morning, police got a call for a carjacking involving a Temple student.
And a 22nd district robbery in progress.
Philadelphia police say a woman was walking to her car in the 1500 block of Fontaine Street when she was approached by 3 people. They grabbed her by the neck and pinned her against the vehicle. She was able to get away from them, but police say they got away in her.
Philadelphia police are searching for right now. He's wanted for robbing 2 Temple University students and a 3rd person at gunpoint.
North Central is a part of Philadelphia that's right in the middle of the northern part of the city. About over 21,800 people live there. The people in North Central make around 25,000 every year on average. Compared to other cities in Pennsylvania, North Central is a bit safer, but it's still got its challenges. Even though it's not known for one of the best neighborhoods in Philadelphia, North Central has some cool things about it. One part of Temple University, a big college, is right there in the neighborhood. It's also close to another school called Girard College. But there are some things about living in North Central. Not everyone has a job. The unemployment rate is 7.9%. That means out of every 100 people who want to work, about 8 can't find a job. And even though there are some famous schools nearby, the local public schools have some problems they're trying to fix. Houses and crimes are big issues in North Central. It's actually ranked the 16th most dangerous neighborhood in Philadelphia by Road Snacks. They say you have a 1 in 13 chance of being in a violent crime there.
The shooting in Frankfurt leaves 1 woman dead, and police say nearly 50 shots were fired.
A guy shows up at a Wawa on Frankfurt Avenue, grazed in the stomach. They've got a gun. They don't even know what that is yet. So that's also happening right now. But at this scene, this is an odd scene. Now there are close to 200 bullet shells found here.
Well, police say 1 person died in a triple shooting inside the Express Food Mart in Frankfurt.
Frankfurt is a neighborhood in Philadelphia, and you can find it in the northeast part of the city. It's surrounded by places like Oxford Circle and Frankfurt Creek, and it's about 6 miles from a really busy part of Philadelphia called Center City. A long time ago in the 1980s, Frankfurt was known for a very scary story about a person called the Frankfurt Slasher. This was a mystery that made the neighborhood pretty famous in a spooky way. Frankfurt used to be split into 2 parts, East Frankfurt and West Frankfurt. The west side was where Caucasian people live, and the east side was where the African American people live. Today, Frankfurt is a mix of many different people from all kinds of backgrounds, but sometimes this mix of people can lead to disagreements and tension. There are about 39,792 people living in Frankfurt. The people here make on average about $33,217 a year, but Frankfurt has a challenge with crime. The rate is 1,369 crimes for every 100,000 people.
Say 2 deaths in Philadelphia's Elmwood neighborhood are a case of murder-suicide. Eyewitness News on the scene in South 67th Street. Police say a 32-year-old woman was shot in the eye. She was pronounced dead at home. Police say a 30-year-old man then turned the gun on himself.
After a 5-day manhunt, police sources confirm it was James Allendale who they caught up with in a motel on Route 46 in Pine Brook New Year's Eve. A shootout ensued in a room at the Knights Inn. Despite life-saving efforts, he was pronounced dead at the scene. Allendale was wanted in Elmwood Park for the attempted murder of a friend of his girlfriend, who may have actually been his fiancée.
Elmwood Park, or just Elmwood, is a cool neighborhood in the southwestern part of Philly, not too far from the airport. It's right next to a big river called Schuylkill River on one side and a huge cemetery called Mount Moriah on the other side. In Elmwood, there are about 24,000 people living there. Many of these people have families that came from Poland and Ireland a long time ago. This neighborhood grew up around churches called Catholic parishes, which started in the 20th century. That means there are some pretty old and interesting churches there. But like a lot of places, Elmwood has some challenges. Finding a job there can be tough. The unemployment rate is 8%, and that means 8 out of every 100 people looking for work can't find it. The money people earn in a year on average is about $36,000.
Breaking from overnight, a man was found shot in the Carroll Park neighborhood of Philadelphia. Police say it happened about 1:30 this morning on the 1500 block of Edgewood Street. The victim was transported to the hospital where he is listed in stable condition.
News out of Carroll Park of a double shooting where a little girl was hit. It happened on the 1300 block of North Wanamaker Street. The girl is 12 years old and was shot in the leg. A man was also shot. He was hit in the jaw. No word yet on their conditions or what led to that shooting.
Police say a woman and man sitting on the front porch of a property were shot several times. They are hospitalized in critical condition this morning. Investigators say they believe the victims were targeted and shot at close range. They are reviewing surveillance video from the area to find the shooter.
Shooting victims today come after 11 people were shot over the weekend. That includes 4 people all shot at once in Carroll Park near Washington Boulevard. One of those victims died. The 3 others are in the hospital. Police believe several hundred people had gathered in the park at the time.
Haddington is a neighborhood in the western part of Philadelphia. Sitting between Lansdowne Avenue and West Girard Avenue, it has a friendly motto, Carroll Park, where neighbors become friends. This means it's a place where people like to be friendly and get to know each other. About over 35,000 people live in Haddington, and most of them are African American. People here are usually hardworking in different jobs, but finding a really good paying job in Haddington can be tough. The unemployment rate, which is the number of people who can't find a job, is 8.9% in Haddington. This means almost 9 out of every 100 people who can't work can't find a job. The average amount of money people make in a year there is $28,706. Carroll Park, a part of Haddington, is known for having a lot of crime, with a rate of over 1,500 crimes for every 100,000 people.
Here's what's happening in Harrowgate. A 28-year-old woman and her 5-year-old son were hit by a bullet while laying in bed. Philadelphia police say 21 shots were fired from a car at the house at 18th and East Venango Streets. A bullet went through a window casing and struck the mother and her young son. The mother was hit in the leg and her son suffered a graze wound to his arm.
Philadelphia police are investigating the deadly shooting in the Harrowgate section of the city. Eyewitness News here at East Glenwood and Castor Avenue. Police say a 35-year-old man was shot one time in the chest around 6:30 this evening. He died there at the scene. No arrests have been made.
Shell casings sit at the doorway of this home after a double shooting claimed the life of a 20-year-old man. A gunman fired the shots on the 1800 block of East Cornwall Street in Philly's Harrowgate neighborhood just before 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Police say a second victim, an 18-year-old, was shot once in the back and once in the side. Paramedics took him to Temple University Hospital, where he is in critical condition. As detectives and officers combed through the crime scene, neighbors say they believe the two were college students who always greeted them as they passed. The incident adding to an already hectic Saturday that included 3 separate shootings that left 1 man dead and 2 others injured.
We want to get you to some breaking news now. A man driving his car is shot and killed in Philadelphia's Harrowgate neighborhood. This happened on East Tioga Street near J Street, and you can see the victim's car slammed into 3 other vehicles before coming to a stop. We also saw several bullet holes in the victim's car, and we just spoke with police. They tell us that the victim was shot at another location and managed to drive away before crashing.
First of all, the smell just slaps you in the face when you come to this street in Harrowgate. You name it, it's been dumped here. Check it out behind me. You can see tires, you can see a baby car seat, mattresses. It's all here. Neighborhood groups are desperate for help.
It smells putrid. It's not something you would want to walk down the street and smell. It's inhabitable.
Harrowgate is a neighborhood in Philadelphia, and people often call this part of the city North Philly. It's known for being a place where many Puerto Ricans live. Something really sad happened in Harrowgate recently. A teenager was accidentally hurt during a shooting. This neighborhood is also known for something surprising. A lot of painkillers are used here. About over 17,000 people live here in Harrowgate. Finding a job here can be hard. The unemployment rate is 13.6%, which means more than 13 people out of 100 who want a job can't find one. The people who do work usually earn about $23,871 a year. There's also quite a bit of crime, with a rate of over 1,700 crimes for every 100,000 people.
Shot in North Philadelphia. It happened just before 11:15 last night. Police say the victims were at the 32nd Street pub on West Allegheny Avenue. They left the bar and were heading back to their car when investigators say a black pickup truck pulled up. Several shooters got out of the truck and opened fire. The man was shot in the neck. The woman was shot in the leg. Both have been stabilized at the hospital.
Alden West is a neighborhood at the end of Philadelphia and is known for being one of the 3 most violent areas in the city. Most people living here are African American and face a lot of challenges. Once upon a time, this area was buzzing with factories and jobs, but then something called post-industrial decline happened. This means that after the factories closed, people started moving away, and it wasn't much money to make the neighborhood nice again. Between 1990 and 2000, a lot of people left. The houses in Alden West aren't expensive. They cost about $26,000 on average. But because there's a lot of crime, with a rate of over 2,400 crimes for every 100,000 people, not many people want to move there. Also, finding a job can be very hard. The unemployment rate is 7.9%, which means almost 8 out of 100 people looking for work can't find it. People who do have jobs make around $25,196 a year.
Tonight, Philadelphia police say at least 4 people were shot in the Fair Hill section of the city. Chopper 3 over the 2700 block of North Darien Street.
Good morning, Jen. That SWAT officer was shot in the chest while serving an arrest warrant for a drug suspect. Thankfully, the bullet did not penetrate his vest. He was transported to Temple University Hospital, where he was evaluated and then released. It all went down at a row home on 2nd and Lehigh. That's in the Fair Hill section of Philadelphia. The former convict, who somehow got his hands on a weapon, was wanted on a narcotics warrant. Police say the gun violence task force was approaching the 3rd floor apartment when he opened fire through the wall.
Authorities are investigating several deadly shootings. Eyewitness News on the scene this morning at 2nd and Cambria Streets in Philadelphia's Fair Hill neighborhood, where a 34-year-old man was found shot multiple times in the upper body. He was pronounced dead at Temple University Hospital. So far, police have not made any arrests.
Police say a drive-by shooting likely claimed the life of a 17-year-old. The shooting happened at about 10:30 Thursday night at 2nd and Allegheny in Fair Hill. When they got there, they found him unresponsive in between 2 parked cars. He was hit multiple times in the torso and was rushed to Temple University Hospital, where he was pronounced dead just after 11.
Fairhill is a neighborhood in Philadelphia that's really easy to spot because it has long rows of houses all lined up. About over 27,000 people live there. What's interesting is that only 20% of the people who live in Fairhill actually own their homes. This neighborhood is a special place for Philadelphia's Hispanic community, and it's also part of an area known as the Philly Badlands. Fairhill is also known for some tough stuff. There's a lot of crime, many people don't have much money, and some people there use drugs. There's even a corner at Indiana Avenue and 3rd Street that's known as the second most dangerous drug corner in the city. The families in Fairhill usually make about $15,000 a year, which is not very much. In fact, 61% of the people living there don't have enough money for a lot of things they need, which is 5 times more than the average for the whole country.
Just as more children continue to be rushed to hospitals suffering from gunshot wounds, the police commissioner says officers aren't even safe on Philadelphia streets.
I just heard a bunch of shots fired. And after I got up off the ground, I kind of looked, around the back of the car, and I just seen a bunch of people scattering.
As you mentioned, police say 2 men were shot and killed and 4 people are recovering in the hospital. Now, we spoke to residents who say it's a shame, but they're not surprised by this early morning crime and what was left behind. Take a look. You can see at least 10 bullet holes remain on this house on the 2400 block of Myrtlewood Street in Strawberry Mansion. Police responded to the scene just before 1 in the morning and found several victims who were shot. Investigators believe the house was operating as an illegal speakeasy, and the shooter fired through the front door and the window from the street. Police say a 53-year-old man died at the house, while a 41-year-old man passed away at the hospital.
Is on for 3 men in a deadly shooting in Strawberry Mansion. Police responding around 1:45 this morning on North 32nd Street. Investigators say they found a man in his 20s in the driver's seat of a Hyundai Sonata with multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at the scene.
Police say the shooter walked into the store, waited in line, and then shot into the cashier booth where the 34-year-old victim was working. There was no robbery. Police are trying to figure out the motive. No one has been arrested.
Here at home, 3 teenagers are recovering after being shot in Philadelphia's Strawberry Mansion section. It happened just after midnight at Harrowgate and North 25th. Police say a 14-year-old girl was shot in the hand. A 16-year-old girl and 14-year-old boy were both shot in the leg. All 3 are stable this morning.
Good evening. Considered one of the most dangerous schools in America, switchblades and fistfights a daily concern, Philadelphia's Strawberry Mansion High School was on the brink of closure with the clock ticking.
Overnight, a shooting in Philadelphia's Strawberry Mansion section leaves 6 people shot, 2 of them dead. The shooting happened on North Myrtlewood Street around 1:30 this morning.
Last night, 7 people were shot, 5 teenagers, a 2-year-old girl, and her mother. 3 people jumped out of a car and began firing. It lasted 19 seconds. The shooting happened about a block from the Blaine School on the 3100 block of West Norris.
Now, Keith, we know 2 of these 7 victims are here at Children's Hospital. And as of tonight, police say it's too early to tell, but they are looking into the determination if this shooting was done out of retaliation.
All this needs to stop.
So far, it hasn't. Multiple shootings have happened this week in Philadelphia. 2 of them ended with teenagers in the hospital. All of this happening while people mourn the death of a local officer who was also gunned down 5 days ago.
Strawberry Mansion might sound like a sweet and fun place because of its name, but it's actually known as one of the trickier neighborhoods in Philly. Up until 2023, it had a school called Strawberry Mansion High, which was really famous, but not for good reasons. It was known as one of the most dangerous schools in the United States. ABC News even talked about it because there was so much trouble happening there. Things in Strawberry Mansion are starting to change. Some parts of the neighborhoods like the south and west sides are getting nicer in a process called gentrification. This means some older rundown places are being fixed up and new people are moving in. The houses there cost around $48,000 on average now. The people who live and work in Strawberry Mansion earn about $31,000 a year, but finding a job can be tough. The unemployment rate is 8.6%. There's still a lot of crime in the area with a crime rate of over 1,900 per 100,000 people. So even though the name sounds like a fairy tale, Strawberry Mansion is a real place with real challenges and changes happening.
Overnight, 2 people were killed in a shooting in the city's Hunting Park neighborhood. Police responded to the 3900 block of North Reed Street at 1 a.m., along with another scene a block away at 39th and North Fairhill Streets. 2 adult men were found at those locations, shot in the head with several shell casings at each scene. They both died at the hospital. Police are trying to figure out a motive, and they're also searching for the killer or killers.
March 2nd, one of the men firing a number of times into the car, killing the occupant.
And breaking overnight, a man is in critical condition after being shot in Philadelphia's Hunting Park neighborhood. You're looking at video of the investigation happening just after 2:30 this morning. Police tell us they found a man lying on the street at North 8th and Bristol.
Hunting Park is a neighborhood in Philly that had some tough times because of crime. A lot of this trouble comes from gangs. Some gangs in Hunting Park are just local groups, but there are bigger, more organized groups like the Latin Kings and the Black Mafia. People who live in Hunting Park used to say it was like the heart of the community, a really important and lively place. But things have changed a lot. Even with these hard times, Hunting Park has some cool old buildings that tell the story of its past. There's the Bayard Taylor School, K. McClure School, and Clara Barton School. These places are like hidden treasures in the neighborhood, showing that even places with challenges can have special things about them.
And Yuki, like you mentioned, we are very close to the scene, a very active scene happening right now. In fact, this is where the police have gathered here near this corner, and about down a block from where I'm standing there is the Philadelphia SWAT team. They have gathered, and we have heard active gunfire within the past 20 minutes happening here near this scene. And actually right now, 2 shots were just fired. You can hear possibly some of the folks, the members of this community, the neighborhood reacting as well. There is active gunfire happening right now.
The suspect accused of shooting 6 police officers surrendered just after midnight. Police say 36-year-old Maurice Hill opened fire at the officers who were trying to serve a warrant at a home on 15th Street yesterday afternoon.
Disturbing discovery. Philadelphia police are looking for the person responsible for a triple murder, and they're hoping a $60,000 reward will help them solve the case. The victims were found on Saturday night inside this home on the 1900 block of West Venango Street in Tioga. Police say the victims, a woman and 2 men, were wrapped in blankets. One of the victims was a 91-year-old man who neighbors often saw on the front porch.
He used to sit right there. He had his TV on. He would watch TV in the summertime.
It's a sad situation, man. You know, sad.
Nicetown police say 2 teenagers have been wounded in a shooting there. Investigators say the 2 16-year-olds were shot on St. Paul Street. An arrest has been made in this double shooting.
Shooting inside of a Philadelphia grocery store leaves 1 man dead and a woman seriously injured. It happened at the Roman Corner store on Butler Street in Nicetown, Tioga around 5:30 tonight. Police say surveillance video captured a gunman walking up to a 28-year-old man and shooting him. The man died inside the store. A 53-year-old woman was hit by a stray bullet. She is in critical condition, but is expected to survive.
I didn't cry so much, I can't even cry no more.
In an interview you'll see only on Action News, the father of the 15-year-old gunned down on his way to school details the moments he learned he lost his son. Authorities say the sophomore at Simon Gratz High School Mastery Charter was blocks from the building when a fight with 3 other boys broke out. Now classmates are mourning, the family asking why.
A man shot dead in Philadelphia's Tioga-Nicetown section. He was found shot in the head on the 3700 block of Germantown Avenue around 2:30 this morning. But police have collected a big clue. They've retrieved surveillance video that they say shows the killing and 2 suspects fleeing. They also say they're talking to a witness. But so far, they're still looking for a motivation behind the violence.
Other big story tonight, an FBI-involved shooting is under investigation. Agents were serving arrest and search warrants at a home in Tioga-Nicetown when the shooting unfolded. Officials say a man was injured and rushed to the hospital.
Nicetown might sound like a nice place, but it's actually a tough part of Philly. It's made up of 2 areas called Tioga and Nicetown, which are in the northern part of the city. People usually call the whole area Nicetown. It's known as not one of the not so great parts of Philly. A long time ago during World War II, Tioga-Nicetown faced some big problems when factories started closing down. A lot of people moved away, more known as white flight. This left the neighborhood with not a lot of money and many empty houses. For a little while, people have been trying to gentrify the neighborhood, make it more nice again. Prices of these houses in this area went up to about $42,000. For a little while, people tried to make the neighborhood nice again and gentrify it, and the prices of the houses went up to about $42,000. But then things changed again, and the house prices fell down to $22,000. Exploring the 10 toughest neighborhoods in Philadelphia, such as Fair Hill, Alden West, and North Central, reveals a city of contrasts. While these areas face challenges like high crime rate, economic struggles, and educational hurdles, they are also communities with their own strengths and resilience. Presence of institutions like Temple University in North Central, historical buildings in Huntington Park, and the evolving landscapes in neighborhoods like Strawberry Mansion show that change is possible. These neighborhoods, with their diverse populations and unique stories, are integral parts in Philadelphia's tapestry, reflecting both the challenges and the potential of urban life.